He was one of the Ottoman Empire's most trusted commanders, respected by sultans, feared by enemies, and destined for greatness under their flag. But then, he vanished. And when he reappeared, he wasn't fighting for the empire. He was fighting to destroy it. This is the story of how one man, trained by his enemies, betrayed the most powerful empire in the world and nearly pulled off the impossible. They called him Skanderbeg, but his real name was Gheorghe Castrioti, and what he did still echoes through history. Gheorghe Castrioti was born into a noble Albanian family in the early 1400s. His father ruled a small but influential territory in what is now modern-day Albania, a land caught in the violent tug-of-war between rising empires and fading kingdoms. But when the Ottoman Empire expanded its grip into the Balkans, things changed fast. Like many nobles under Ottoman rule, Gheorghe's father was forced to send one of his sons to the empire, not as a guest, but as a hostage. Gheorghe was taken from his home while still a child. In Istanbul, he was stripped of his name, his language, his religion, everything. He was converted to Islam, given a Turkish name, and trained in the art of war at the empire's elite military schools. And here's where it gets interesting. He thrived. Gheorghe, now called Iskender, rose rapidly through the ranks. He became one of the Ottoman Empire's most trusted field commanders, praised for his intelligence, strategy, and ruthless efficiency on the battlefield. But there was something the Ottomans never realized. Through it all, he never truly forgot who he was. In 1443, the empire was stretched thin, fighting on multiple fronts in Europe. Gheorghe, now in his 30s, was part of a campaign in central Hungary when news reached him. His father had died, and the Ottomans had seized his family's land in Albania. And just like that, the perfect Ottoman soldier made his move. In a twist straight out of a movie, Skanderbeg deserted the Ottoman army, mid-battle. He took a small group of loyal Albanians, forged an official imperial decree, and marched straight to the fortress of Kruja, one of the most important strongholds in Albania. The garrison, thinking the document was real, let him in. By the time they realized the truth, it was too late. Kruja was under his control, and the Ottoman flag was torn down. Skanderbeg raised a new banner, a black double-headed eagle, a symbol of Albanian unity and rebellion. He wasn't just coming home, he was declaring war. Albania wasn't exactly a unified nation at the time. It was a chaotic patchwork of rival clans and warlords, each guarding their own territory, their own pride, and their own grudges. But Skanderbeg knew he couldn't fight the Ottoman Empire alone. He needed to do something no one had ever managed before: unite Albania. In 1444, he called a meeting of the major Albanian leaders in the town of Lezhë. Amazingly, they came. Even more amazingly, they agreed to work together. They formed a loose alliance known as the League of Lezhë. And while many expected Skanderbeg to crown himself king, he didn't. He took the more humble title of Governor of Albania. It was a smart move. It calmed egos, reduced rivalries, and showed that this wasn't about power. It was about survival. Just a few months after the League was formed, the Ottomans sent a massive army to crush the rebellion. By all logic, it should have been over. The Ottomans had more men, more weapons, more experience. But Skanderbeg had something else: strategy. The Battle of Torviol in 1444, he led a force of around 15,000 Albanian fighters against an Ottoman army nearly twice their size. He chose the perfect location, a narrow valley that limited the enemy's numbers. He feigned a retreat, luring the Ottomans deep into the valley. And then, when they were boxed in, he struck. It was a massacre. The Ottomans were completely caught off guard. Skanderbeg's victory wasn't just military, it was psychological. For the first time, the world saw that the Ottomans could be beaten, and And Skanderbeg, he became a legend almost overnight. News of Skanderbeg's rebellion spread like wildfire across Europe. The Pope praised him as a defender of Christendom. Catholic kingdoms saw him as a barrier against Ottoman expansion. Suddenly, Albania, a small, fractured region, became a key piece on the European chessboard. Venice, Naples, and the Papal States began sending money, weapons, and troops. Foreign volunteers joined his ranks. Skanderbeg welcomed them, but he never became anyone's puppet. He played the diplomatic game brilliantly, securing support, without giving up control, and back home, he was transforming Albania. He built a disciplined army, implemented fair taxes, and created a unique kind of religious tolerance. Muslims, Catholics, and Orthodox Christians all served under his banner. In an age of brutal religious wars, this was rare and powerful. The Ottomans were humiliated. Year after year, they sent fresh armies to crush Skanderbeg. Year after year, he sent them back in pieces. Sultan after sultan became obsessed with defeating him. One famously said, "If I had Skanderbeg, I could conquer the world." Instead, they spent decades trying and failing to stop him. Skanderbeg didn't just fight, he outsmarted. He used guerrilla tactics, local knowledge, and impossible stamina to stay ahead. Even when vastly outnumbered, he always found a way, and here's the wildest part, he did it for over 25 years. But even legends grow old. By the 1460s, Skanderbeg was in his 60s, a remarkable age for a warrior who had fought nearly non-stop for decades. He knew the end was coming. He launched one last campaign to protect his allies in Naples, defeating French-backed forces and proving once again that he wasn't finished yet, but his health was failing. In 1468, Skanderbeg died of illness, not in battle, but still undefeated on the field. His death was a shock. Within years, without his leadership, the fragile Albanian resistance began to collapse. The Ottomans eventually reconquered the region, but even they couldn't erase his legacy. Skanderbeg wasn't just a warrior, he was a symbol of resistance, identity, and unity in a time of chaos. His flag, the black double-headed eagle, is still the national flag of Albania today. His name is everywhere, on statues, airports, even currencies. To Albanians, he's more than a hero. He's a national father figure, and to historians, he's something even rarer, a man who betrayed an empire and got away with it. He took everything the Ottomans gave him, their training, their weapons, their trust, and used it to build a rebellion that changed history. His story isn't just about war. It's about reclaiming identity, rewriting fate, and proving that even the most powerful empire can be shaken by the will of one man. Skanderbeg didn't just fight the Ottomans. He beat the odds. He rewrote his destiny, and centuries later, the world still remembers the Black Eagle who refused to bow. So next time you hear the name Skanderbeg, don't think of a forgotten medieval general. Think of the hostage who came home and made history.